Welcome to Art Bytes, short encounters with the collection of the Marianna Kistler Beach Museum of Art. I'm Catherine Slogic, and I'm the Associate Curator of Education. And in honor of Veterans Day, I have chosen an illustration from World War I by Tony Sarg. It is one of a set that he created for the book, The Martial Adventures of Henry and Me, written by Kansan William Allen White. The museum's set of drawings for this book are currently on display at the Norman Rockwell Museum and will be traveling to the Nantucket Historical Association next summer. They are featuring Tony Sarg, Genius at Play. Tony Sarg, the artist, was born in Guatemala in 1880, the son of a German diplomat and coffee entrepreneur. His mother was an artist, and the Sarg's family returned to Germany in 1887. He entered a military academy at age 14 and 3 years later received a commission as lieutenant, a post that he resigned in 1905 to move to Great Britain in pursuit of artistic opportunities. While still in Germany, Sarg met Bertha Eleanor McGowan, an American tourist from Cincinnati. He continued her relationship while in the UK and married McGowan in 1909, and the couple returned to England where their daughter Mary was born. Employed in London as an illustrator and caricaturist, Sarg became an active part of the city's community. From 1912 to 1914, he designed posters for the Electric Underground Railway Company and became a member of the London Sketch Club, meeting other prominent poster designers and illustrators of his time. His German heritage, however, and the anti-German sentiment in England leading up to World War I prompted Sarg to move his family first to Cincinnati in 1914 and then to New York City. And in 1920, he became a naturalized citizen. After arriving in New York in 1915, Sarg continued his career, easily fitting in with the fellow illustrators, writers, and performers. His work during these early years was largely illustrations for books for children, adults, magazines, and advertising. But he's best known for his extensive work in marionette puppetry and the creation of the Macy's parade balloons. And you see here Felix the cat, and he was the first Macy's Day balloon. Melissa Sweet wrote a book called Balloons Over Broadway, which actually was nominated for a William Allen White Children's Book Award. On Nantucket, where Sarg summered, he's best remembered for the Nantucket Sea Monster. In addition to being the editor of the Emporia Gazette, William Allen White wrote 22 books and a Pulitzer Prize-winning editorial called To an Anxious Friend. He had well-known editorials, What's the Matter with Kansas, and a eulogy for his daughter, Mary White, who was killed in a riding accident. White was also responsible for organizing a traveling exhibition for John Stuart Curry in Kansas and led the Kansas newspaper editors in the campaign to have Curry paint the State House murals. In the summer of 1917, William Allen White and Henry J. Allen, who was at that time the owner of the Wichita Beacon and later governor of Kansas, traveled to Europe as inspectors for the Red Cross activities. During World War I, the Red Cross set up 134 base and evacuation hospitals in Europe, mostly in France. And it becomes quite clear that the illustrations for the book, Martial Adventures of Henry and Me, are based on this photograph taken of Henry Allen and William Allen White. The book is based on letters that White sent home to his wife, Sally, and children, Bill and Mary. Although he writes in his autobiography that his wife encouraged him to write the book after his return, he had already written to George Platt Brett at Macmillan about the book on his arrival in France in August of 1917. The book was probably designed to help market or promote Henry Allen for the governorship. The book was published in April of 1918, and in all of the reviews, they talk about the inimitable sketches of Tony Sarg distributed throughout lend a clever human atmosphere to the text. Tony Sarg's drawings are in keeping with the liveliness of the text. There are humorous illustrations by Tony Sarg. And the pen and ink drawings were reproduced as photomechanical halftones. The story combines White and Allen's actual experiences on the Western Front with the Red Cross Ambulance Corps and visiting the base field hospitals with a fictional love triangle to give it a backbone. But what I find interesting about the book is that part of the humor in the book comes from the stories of the uniforms. Clothing becomes a recurring humorous theme to lighten the horrors of the war, beginning with the price of the uniforms that they purchased in New York City, $17.48 each. Once they arrive in Paris, they find that their uniforms are phony and are forced to buy new ones at almost 10 times the price. However, the uniforms are not ready in time, and so they're forced to wear the non-official ones on their first trip to the front. In what they call a dress rehearsal, White finds that his pants are 8 inches too small around the waist, while his shirt is quite large. With the help of a French hotel maid, a triangle is cut out of the shirt and inserted into the seat of his pants. They head off with the American ambulance drivers to the front in Rheims to view a chain of field hospitals at railroad junctions, which were under fire, retribution from the German loss at Verdun. During one of the bouts of shell fire, White dives for a trench, and then the shell landed. It was a wholesale hardware store that hit, no retail affair. The sound was awful. And then something inside me or outside tore with an awful rip. We had been reading Dr. Kryle's book on the anesthesia of fear, and suddenly it occurred to me that the shell had hit me and torn a hole in me, and that fear had deadened the pain. Slowly and in terror, my right hand groped back to the place of the wound, expecting every moment to encounter blood and ragged flesh. We were still crouched over, waiting for the fountain of junk to cease spraying. Nearer and nearer came the shrinking fingers to the wound. They felt no blood, but something more terrible. There, dangling by its apex, hung that pie-shaped slice of shirt from those cotton khaki trousers, ripped clear out, and Paris 50 miles away. The chosen illustration shows White and Allen in their official Red Cross uniforms, and Sarg really captures the moment perfectly. White writes, "We knew in our hearts that they humped in the back and flopped in the front and sagged in the shoulders. A fat man can't wear the modern army uniform without looking like a sack of meal." Henry fell to calling the tunics our Mother Hubbards. Alas, the American uniform is high-waisted, and a fat man was never designed for a Kate Greenaway. The Martial Adventures of Henry and Me sold over 50,000 copies, and it wasn't until World War II, when White had to relive the horrors of war again, that the lead plates for the books were melted down for ammunition. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you will celebrate the veterans in your lives for Veterans Day.